on progress of your team and what you're looking forward to with the trip to Colorado this week.
Yeah, I thought we got some productive things done during our bye week. Had 3 practices on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The coaches got out on the road Thursday night, Friday night, a little bit Saturday. Guys seemed to be pretty energized to get back into a game week. Was pleased with practice last night, and playing a good Colorado team on the road. It's going to be ready to go.
Can you update everybody on the status of Donovan Moore? It was reported he was in a bad car accident.
It was yeah, very tragic. He was with a buddy his that played at Pima and was in an accident. Unfortunately, the other young man passed away, and just saw Donovan about an hour ago. About an hour and a half ago, he stopped by to say hello. He was in the hospital, got banged around a little bit, concussion, some ribs and things. So it'll be a few weeks for him, but he just got out of the hospital, I think, this morning.
Coach, you have several players from the Nevada area. Have you spoken to them about last night's events?
No, I was just on my way in there, just saw Tony Fields. But it is obviously very tragic. It's hard to fathom that, and you're always concerned when there's in athletic events too, when you've got large number of people tailgating or coming to events, and it just, you can do all the preparation you can, but some crazy, cowardly person does what that guy did. It's hard to imagine.
What is the status of Scotty Young, Jr.?
We've consulted with all the appropriate authorities, including the dean of students, and Scotty Young was participating in all team activities.
How is this situation different from what happened with Orlando Bradford last year?
Well, it is different, and every situation with all of our players is evaluated individually.
How is it different?
Every situation with all our players is evaluated individually, and it's different. This is a different situation.
Continuing with questions for Coach.
Anything strike you a quarter of the season left, or that just passed, about the league? It surprised you, not surprised you?
I guess some of the, I thought there would be some mistakes with going into it with young players playing in certain positions, but I've been pleasantly surprised with some of the young players haven't made as many mental mistakes, which is good. And then we've in the 2 games we've lost, there's just so many critical plays that, gosh, if we'd have just done this or did that. So there's a lot of, when you have an open day, you kind of review everything, from a coaching standpoint, from a playing standpoint, fundamental standpoint. What do we got to do so we don't have those mistakes in the future? So I can see we're closer in some respects, certainly, but we've got to try to do what we can do to not have those mistakes so we can win those close ball games.
Do those little things gnaw at you more than the bigger picture where, you had a chance to win in both?
Yeah, they do. I think we probably hang on to them longer as coaches and players, in particular when you have an open day because you're evaluating everything. But nonetheless, you got to do what you can do to get better. And I thought that's why right after the game, the last game, as upset as we were, I thought the response of the guys immediately after the game was what it needed to be, as far as being upset yet determined. And then I thought the response last week in the practices we had and last night was what I would hope to be, as far as being focused and determined to get better.
After evaluating Brandon Dawkins' performance for the last 4 weeks, what was the thought process behind keeping him the starter as opposed to maybe going with Khalil Tate?
He's certainly, the turnovers is what cost us, but he's also made some big plays. But it's been uneven. There's no question about it. It's been frustrating a little bit for him as well. But it's the big mistake that sometimes it's really certainly hurting us. But he's not the only one that's made some of those. I mean, we've all made them. We've made them as coaches too. So Brandon knows that we can't have the big mistake. We can't have the turnovers. We've got to capitalize when we have an opportunity on big potential plays. And, I still think he's our starter, but at the same time, Khalil Tate is healthier now. So, Khalil hadn't been able to practice as much in the last few weeks because of his shoulder, and he's healthier now, so he'll continue to push him, as will two of the freshmen.
What did you think about the approval of the Board of Regents to?
Oh, I'm so grateful. It's, if you guys know, they've been covering us. We've been talking about this for several years of the need for an indoor practice facility, and not just for our guys, I think for all the athletes, and it's going to be great for the fans and, the plans that we have for it, and it's going to be a nice one. It's going to be one that's, I think, the best in the state, and certainly going to help us in recruiting, and along with some of the other things they approved for the athletic department. So I'm really appreciative of our regents, our administration, and everybody's helped bring that together. I think, we are able to use this facility when it was built to really help us in recruiting and gave us a boost, and I think we'll be able to do the same certainly with the new indoor coming.
How much will that be a point of emphasis in recruiting?
It already has been, because we told them we thought it was coming, but we couldn't tell them for sure it was. And so now, as soon as it's been approved, and we're using it quite a bit, and we'll try to get some models made and some drawings made so we can show them. And I think as much as anything else, certainly it's going to help in development of our student athletes, but I think also it shows that there's the commitment to football and helping our guys get better will be a big selling point for us.
How do you envision using that facility for football purposes?
Well, as you know, we practice in the mornings now mostly, to beat the heat. I think now it opens us the opportunity to, if we want to go back to afternoon practices, and then at times in the summer, in particular, when as you all know, that it gets really hot, yet our guys are here all summer, that gives them an opportunity to work on their game on their own in an air-conditioned environment, and I think that's huge. We want our guys to do a lot of it on their own, but realistically in the summer when it's 100 or 105 degrees, it's hard to get guys to go out there for an hour and a half. And our guys, to their credit, have still done it, but they've had to do it late at night or in the morning. And, this thing will just give a great opportunity for them to work out in the summer and at other times when maybe it's just a little too hot to be out there on a hot turf.
Will you have any input in terms of what will be incorporated into the
I think so.
facility?
Yeah, I think there's some preliminary plans, but I think in addition to the practice area or the field, there may be probably a little area on the end that maybe be some rehab or recovery type of areas to help with injuries. And again, I think, selfishly, obviously for a football program it's going to be great, but I think it's going to be also nice for a lot of the other athletes too. You think there's no indoor facility really in southern Arizona. So I can imagine or picture not just our teams using it, but us being able to rent it out and having a great place for our fans to tailgate before football and basketball games. And it'll get used every day, every day.
Colorado is kind of in a similar situation to you guys in the sense that they kind of had their breakout year last year, and now they're dealing with how do we follow up on that? What are some of the challenges inherent in following up the breakout season?
I think that's a good point. It seems like there's been a different winner of the South about every year. But, there's no question they were building to last year and had a really good football team. And now I think they know the expectations is going to stay up that way. I think the one they have, you can tell by their play, they still have that confidence from last year's team. They have, 7 or 8 starters back offensively, and that's not including the quarterback, who I think is a really good player. And even the guys that played on defense that weren't starters were backups that played quite a bit. And they still were playing with confidence. They lost a tough game to UCLA this weekend, but that confidence they got from last year I think is helping them, and they believe in their program and their system, and they've had a couple tough, close games as well. But our guys understand it. Plus the environment there. Colorado has a good fan base. As you know, the stands are really close to the sidelines, so it's a tight environment, and crowd noise is going to be something we got to work on all week.
What is Cam Denson's status for the season?
He's not been able to play with his foot, and we're not optimistic that that he's going to be ready anytime soon. It's really frustrating for Cam because I thought he was, ready for the breakout year at wide receiver, and would probably been, along with Shun, our probably most explosive wide receiver. And just it's one of those injuries that it's going to take a lot of time, and I'm not too optimistic that he'll be ready anytime soon.
So even though he appeared in a game, he could still apply for a medical registration?
He could,
right?
yeah. He could do that, and really with all those kind of medical things, it's really somebody different education than I have. It's the doctors and our trainers, and then certainly Cam himself as an individual deciding what he wants to do as far as just letting it rest and hopefully it heals, or trying to have surgery and get it fixed that way, or it's really we're leaving it up to the doctors and to the student athletes. That's the way it should be.
What about Isaiah Hayes? Is he out for the year at this point?
Yeah, Isaiah just had surgery, and so he's gone for the season as well.
So just getting back to Scotty Young, you said that he's participating in all team activities. Is that
That's correct.
for now, or does it depend on what happens with the case?
He's
or-
participating with all team activities.
Does that mean he's faced any sort of discipline whatsoever?
We're going
outside
to.
of-
I think I've probably commented enough about Scotty Young. Happy to talk about Colorado.
Besides the confidence factor, the guys back, any other initial impressions of Colorado? Anything that stands out to you about their personnel?
Yeah, they're very explosive wide receiver. I think the running back, I've been impressed with him since he's been playing for him. I think he's one of the best in the Pac-12 and one of the best in the country. I mean, he blocks, he catches. I mean, Philip Lindsay's a big-time player, in my opinion. They tackle well. They're rarely out of position. It's one thing you watch. I mean, they understand. Even though they have a new defensive coordinator, Coach Levitt left for Colorado, they're running basically the same scheme. And you can tell they're doing the same things, which makes sense because these guys have played a little bit, obviously, in their careers in the same scheme. So they're playing the same way. They're aggressive, and they don't give up a whole lot of big plays. They're rarely out of position, so they do a good job with them.
You get a chance to watch Bryce Love against ASU?
Yeah, I got to watch him and kind of enjoy watching him because we don't play him. Golly, he was phenomenal. I mean, I knew he's been a good player. He's just now the people now knew him because Christian McCaffrey. But wow, what a talent he is for sure.
Anything more for Coach? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
It's red.